Hello and welcome to another Spooky Reads. And tonight I'm very excited to be talking about Mexican Gothic, a 2020 novel by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And if you have not read it, oh boy, are you missing out. You know, I love all things Gothic, and this was a wonderful use of tropes and at the same time something very new. There's almost a kind of scientific bent to part of what's going on so far as the supernatural elements. And Gar Moreno Garcia makes a wonderful use of history and setting to add the colonialism aspect to things, and it's just fabulous. Um, I think she was a master of the atmosphere. You know how, there's always the dark corners and the tall candlelight and the weirdness of sound that's always a part of a good Gothic setting, and she did beautifully with that. So I've chosen a part to read for you, which is both a bit of atmosphere and a bit of plot. Not too far into the book. Let's see. This is on my Kindle edition and it's 47% into the book. And our main character, Noemi, is taking a walk in a cemetery because, that'll be soothing. So here we go. 2, 3, 4 steps. It seemed it didn't take her long until she stood before the iron gates and walked inside. She'd been utterly lost in the mist before, but she did not bother to consider what she'd do if she should lose her way again. In fact, a part of her very dearly wished to be lost. Catalina. She'd hurt Catalina, and even now she did not know how her cousin was faring. Florence was tight-lipped. She'd seen nothing of Virgil, not that she wanted to see him very much. He'd been beastly. "You almost made me a widower tonight, Noemi." She hadn't meant it, but intent or not, what did it matter? What mattered were the facts. That's what her father would tell her. And now Noemi felt doubly ashamed. She'd been sent to fix a problem, not to make an even bigger mess. Was Catalina angry with her? What might Noemi say when they finally saw each other? "Sorry, dear cousin, I almost poisoned you, but you're looking better." Noemi walked among the tombstones and moss and wildflowers, her chin lowered, tucked close against the folds of the sweater. She saw the mausoleum, and in front of it the stone statue of Agnes. Noemi peered up at the statue's face and her hands, which were weathered with speckles of black fungus. She had wondered if there was a plaque or a marker with the name of the deceased on it, and she saw that there was. Noemi had overlooked it during her previous visit, although she could hardly be blamed for missing it. The plaque was hidden by an overgrown clump of weeds. She plucked the weeds away and brushed the dirt off the bronze plaque. Agnes Doyle, Mother, 1885. That was all Howard Doyle had chosen to leave behind to commemorate the passing of his first wife. He had said he had not known Agnes well, that she died within a year of their marriage, yet it seemed odd to have a statue carved of her and then not even compose a proper line or two about her passing. It was the nature of the one word etched beneath the woman's name that bothered her too. Mother. But as far as Noemi knew, Howard Doyle's children were born of his second marriage. Why choose mother as the epithet then? Perhaps she was making too much of this. Inside the mausoleum, where the woman's body rested, there might be a proper plaque and a proper message about the deceased. Yet it was unsettling in a way she could not define, like noticing a crooked seam or a tiny stain on a pristine tablecloth. She sat there, at the statue's feet, and tugged at a blade of grass, wondering if someone ever bothered setting flowers inside the mausoleum. Sorry, I'm having so much trouble with that word. Mausoleum, or at any of the graves. Could the families of everyone buried in the cemetery be gone from the area? But then most of the English folk must have come alone, and therefore there had been no kin to bother with such things. There were also unmarked graves for the local workers, and with no gravestone to their name, there would be no crowns of flowers for them. If Catalina dies, she thought, she'll be buried here, and her tomb will be bare. What a horrid thought. But she was horrid, wasn't she? Simply horrid. Noemi dropped the blade of grass and took a deep breath. The silence in the cemetery was absolute. No birds sang in the trees. No insects flapped their wings. Everything was muffled. It was like sitting at the bottom of a deep well, shielded by the earth and stone from the world. And that's where I'll stop. So you see what I mean, right? The atmosphere is really awesome, and you've got this trope of the meddling female, I suppose, right? Because Noemi was sent to check on her cousin, who had sent this letter that disturbed everybody. Like, she'd gotten married in a hurry, ran off with some mysterious rich dude to his home in another part of Mexico, and nobody had been heard from her since. And then she sent this letter that was just kind of rambling and scary. And so Noemi's father said, "Hey, go visit your cousin and find out what the heck's going on, would you?" So that's what she meant when she was talking about she had been sent to solve a problem. And of course, things are mysterious and strange. And you've got that wonderful ambiguity of like, well, are they just eccentric or are they evil? I don't know. Can't tell. Now, it's a Gothic novel, so you might have a suspicion which way it's going to fall. So that was Mexican Gothic, again, by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And it was one of the best books I've read in recent years. So I hope you will check it out.